Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Good to see you. And
You too.
tell our viewers a little bit about you, so they get an idea of what you've been doing and what you're interested in, and things like that.
Yeah, so my name's Ryan Hughes. I'm a musician and I have a band. It's called Humble Francis. And we just kind of started releasing some of the recordings that we've been doing. And this first song that we just released is the one that Barry you were just talking about that I kind of wrote about my dad. And it's sort of it's actually about the last time I talked to him. And the song is called Last Call. Um, Yeah, so it's basically it was about the last call that I had with him, and I was the last person that ever talked to him. So
Yeah, and then talk a little bit about what you did, which was might be a little interesting and unusual for. How do you build a relationship with somebody who's deceased?
right, yeah. So there was kind of a lot of things that I wanted to talk to him about, and questions I wanted to ask him, and that type of thing. And so, like you said, first step was to kind of write a letter, and it had a number of questions that I had for him, and things that I wanted to address with him. And largely the biggest question was, he committed suicide, and the biggest question was, why did he do it, and what was his kind of reasoning behind that. And when we so then after I wrote the letter, we did the open chair, which was really a pretty amazing experience, where we kind of just set him up in a chair and I read the letter to him. And then as I got to the section where I was asking questions of him, you had me switch chairs, sit in the other chair, and kind of answer the question as if I was him. And that was really interesting, just because there was a lot. What it helped me realize is that I sort of had a lot of the answers. Maybe it was in my subconscious or something like that, but I had a lot of the answers. But doing that exercise kind of really helped me, bring some of those answers that I had to the front of my mind, and realize um, that maybe there was more information that I knew that I was kind of blocking out.
Mhm. So then that experience led you to do some more research about his death, and you got the police records and really finally kind of wrapped that up for you. There were so many things that happened so quickly, you didn't have a chance to get all of them, completed. And so, you want to say anything about that? What that meant to you?
Yeah, like you were saying, just the completion of it. There was a lot of details that I didn't know, and I really never got the full story until I really kind of, after we went through that. I went and just kind of dove in deep, and found the police records and read through those and talked to some of my relatives, my mom and stuff, and really got the full picture of the story, which I think was really helpful.
Good, good. So the name of your band is actually named after your dad too, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. The Francis in there is that was his middle name.
Uh, and then you were inspired to write this song, uh, remembering the last time you spoke with him. So let's put the lyrics up on the screen, and we'll play the song, and then you'll talk a little bit more about if you have anything to add about what the song actually meant to you after you did it. And,
Oh, okay, great.
okay.
When you made the choose underground or the evening news, you don't really have a choice. No matter what they say, looking through the bars inside your head, listening could hold you down, hold you down. So much I don't know. like you don't have a glimpse of hope. It's a risk you run, care that much, it's a loaded gun. The shameless are the lucky ones. So much I don't know. No soul, I see cold. So much I don't know. No soul, I see cold. Last call is rose cold. Dead stone, he won't. Got me on my mind all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. So much I don't know. No soul, I see cold. So much I don't know. No soul, I see cold.
Goodbye. Good. Well, tell me about how it felt to write that song and what it does when you hear it, when you play it and sing it. What does that do for you?
Yeah, it kind of just the songwriting. It sort of just comes out. It's not really a lot of thought that goes into it, or I try to even not to overthink it. It's sort of just trying to like sort of maybe channel something and just kind of put down whatever comes out. And I remember when I wrote the song, I was just in a really kind of emotional place, and I was thinking about my dad and the events that all happened with him and that last time that I talked to him. And yeah, it just sort of came out, and I don't try to think about it too much, but there's definitely, a few things, especially listening back, where I realize what I was thinking about, or, what when I play it or when I sing it. And there's a couple lines that sort of stand out to me, and some interesting things that we've talked about, that sort of they came out on the song which I wrote a couple years ago, but at the time it was more just I didn't really thinking about the meaning behind it. But then after kind of some of the work that we've done, it sort of made me realize even more what I was talking about, in the song. And like there's one line in particular. The line is, "The shameless are the lucky ones." And I don't really remember writing that or what I was thinking about at that time, but after we kind of went through this whole exercise of the empty chair and all that, we sort of a lot of the big questions that I had around it were about why did he choose to do that, and I think there was a deep shame involved there. And so I think that this was something that I already knew, and even a couple years ago when I wrote the song, I knew about it, but bringing that, I didn't realize that I knew it until we kind of did that work.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, it seems to me in going through this experience with you, with the empty chair experience, you came out of that in many ways very different than you were going in. You want to say a little more about that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that it was sort of like a rite of passage, like you were talking about. But I think I felt like this just kind of weight of that all this time that I knew that I had this thing that I hadn't been dealing with, and to have just gone through that experience of, okay, I've done what I needed to do to deal with it, and going to get the full story about it and getting that police report and the whole thing. Yeah, it was kind of just like a giant weight off my shoulders, and I think it helped my own even self-esteem of like, I'm someone who takes care of the things that are bothering me, that rises to the challenges that are in my life.
Yeah. And that kind of work inspired you to also think about doing similar things with your mother, who's still alive.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so similar things with her. I've been talking to her a lot about my childhood, and she's a great mom, and everything. But there's always certain things that the way that affect you as an adult. So I've been talking with her about some of those things.
Yeah, and again, building an adult to adult relationship with her.
Right. Yeah.
That seems to have been an outcome in both the work you did with your dad and also the work you're doing with your mom right now, is that you're building an adult to adult relationship with these people. And,
Right.
And that must feel good.
Definitely. Absolutely. Definitely does. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on and telling us your story. I think it's a very interesting story. And we have one more piece that we want to hear, because you had the unlucky occurrence of being in Las Vegas when the mass shooting occurred there. And
Right.
you were so moved by all of that, you wrote a song. Tell us a little bit about that song that you wrote.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Like you said, it sort of is like, it's sort of kind of going back and forth between like my perspective of just being somewhere that was around there, and sort of getting inside the head of the mass shooter. And it's just sort of, a lot of the lyrics are sort of exploring that of like what causes that to happen, which I know is something that you're interested in, and how does a person come to do that? Like some of the lyrics in the second verse are, like, I can't understand, not an ordinary man. Like, how could an ordinary man do that type of thing? And it's kind of talking about me and how I think I could never do anything like that, but it's how does someone get to that place? So it's kind of exploring that.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's hear the song and again put the lyrics up there. And this is called Latchkey.
I'm a latchkey. I'm a bad dream. I'm a latchkey. I'm a bad dream. Will you line if you say you won't pay no mind? Semi-automatic and it ain't no crime. Even in the desert it'll rain sometime. Devil get his due, bad brains unwind. We proceed to call up on the phone. Tripping on the fear up in his tone. Get up off the strip, go pick up the bat. Forget about the juice. There's a mad man on the loose. I'm
Well, that's great. Thank you. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, and you hit upon two of the really important things that I have discovered is that many of these mass shooters are loners. They were like a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of time growing up alone, and they never learned how to develop normal adult relationships. That's that's the one thing, and then they also this what's the second line under I'm a latchkey?
Bad dream.
I'm a bad dream. They many times don't feel very high, no high regard for themselves. There's a lot of self hatred
Yeah.
and self judgment that goes into them, and frequently then, and I'll be talking in our next episode about more specifically about those characteristics of mass shooters that you hit two of the most important ones in your song. So good lead into my next episode.